So this practice is for all of my students, including pregnancy and postnatal. There'll be a few modifications. Very, very gentle practice. On the inhale, reach the arms up, fingertips touching. On the exhale, come down through the heart center to Tadasana. Inhale, lengthen the arms up. And exhale, release the arms down by your side. Inhale, reach and extend the arms. Bind the hands this time and take a stretch over to the right side. You can allow the hips to push out towards the left slightly. On the next inhale, release, and on the next exhale, going a little deeper. Maybe release the right hand down to the thigh. Neck feels okay. You can twist the head to look up towards the sky. Inhale, come back to the center. And on the exhale, come over to the other side, the left side. Inhale, release slightly. Exhale, deepen. Keep confirming down for your feet. Let that left hand release down beside the thigh, twisting the head again if you wish. Come back to the center. On the exhale, release back. Next inhale, we're going to reach and extend the arms out to shoulder height, palms facing up. We're going to take a twist over to the right, remembering not to twist too deeply during pregnancy. And on the next exhale, you can slightly deepen the twist, maybe looking over the shoulder. Come back to the center. And exhale, twisting the opposite way. And exhale, deepening that twist. Come back to the center. And release. Inhale, reach and extend the arms. And on the exhale, I'm going to hinge through the hips, come into Uttanasana. Soften those knees, let the hands dangle, or they might just find the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Remember, in the third trimester beyond, you might just want to stay in the halfway up variation. And then slowly coming all the way up. Bend the knees this time, come up into Uttanasana. Tailbone draws towards the floor. Back to Samasthiti. I'll show you again from the side view. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Soften those knees, folding it down. Inhale, halfway lift. Let the head extend up through the spine. On the exhale, deepen your fold. Bend those knees, sweep the arms. Uttanasana, firm through those inner thighs. And back to the center. So we're going to take away kind of the flow part of the class, so more Hatha style, stepping from one pose to the next. I'm going to come first into a little balancing pose, Vrksasana, tree pose. And just remembering, if you're suffering at all with SPD or pelvic girdle pain, that standing on one leg for any length of time is probably going to cause you a bit more pain. So maybe avoiding this one, or stay with that variation of the ankle to ankle foot to the floor. Otherwise you can come up to below the knee or the foot into the thigh. Release the arms up if you feel balanced, or just keep your hands to your hips at all times. And slowly release. Repeat on the other side. So firming down through that right leg. Left leg lifts. Again, option to keep that foot to the floor, heel to heel, or foot below the knee, or up into the thigh. Remembering this is a little bit of a hip opener, so trying to get some openness into that hip. Again, let the tailbone draw down and find a little connection into your core muscles to build strength through that standing leg. Open the arms. And breathe deeply and smoothly. And release, come back to your Tadasana. I'm going to come through the warrior poses now. A little forward fold in between each pose if you like. Just releasing out through that lower back. Stepping that right foot back. I'm going to drop down that back knee. So yeah, apologies, we're not actually doing the warrior poses just yet. So for pregnant ladies, you can come into the half moon variation where the knee stays on the floor and the arms just extend up into the air. For everyone else, you can take blocks if you wish, framing that front foot. You can keep the toes tucked, or you can take that back knee off the floor. Try and draw the right hip forward and the left hip back slightly, and kind of connecting to that inner thigh. Let the left knee be above the ankle, and just draw the heart, chest, sternum forward slightly, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears. Push off the back foot, step up to the front. And on the exhale, take a bow. On the inhale, come halfway up. On the exhale, stepping the left foot back. And so drop that knee down, hands to the thigh, staying here. Or come to frame that front foot. Runner's lunge. And you can have a blanket underneath the back knee. You can keep the knee down, or you can keep that back knee off the floor. Heart, chest, sternum lifted. Hugging in through that right knee. Push off that back foot. And exhale to fold. Inhale, reach and extend the arms. And back to the centre. Hands to the hips. Now we're going to step back through Warrior One. So you can keep the stance a little bit shorter if you need to. If you find that you can't get those hips square to the front of the mat, you want to try and draw that right hip back, left hip forward. Firm down through that back foot at a slight angle. And for pregnant ladies, you feel a little bit unbalanced, just don't worry too much about alignment here. Just allow that right foot to maybe wriggle out to the side to widen the stance. Optional to bring the arms up into the air or hands stay to the hips. And tiny little adjustments here will help build strength through this pose. Keep firming down for that back heel. Engage through your tailbone, lift up through the midline. Maybe go a little bit deeper into your lunge. Remembering when you're pregnant to back off from lunging too deep in any of the poses. Hormone relaxin is softening all the muscles around the pelvis to prepare you for birth. It's want to kind of work at strengthening rather than flexibility right now. When you're ready, come back onto the mat and step the right foot back, finding Warrior One on this side. Heel to arch alignment, or again wriggling that left foot out to the side, give you more balance. Tailbone draws down, slight lift up through the midline, hands can stay to the hips or reach and extend the arms up. Lunging forward slightly, let the shoulders still drop down away from the ear, so you're reaching but at the same time you're finding some broadening through the back body, through the back ribs. And release, and stepping up to the front of the mat. Just taking a moment to reconnect in your Tadasana at the front of your mat. Hands to the hips, We're going to step the left foot back this time. We're opening up into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2 pose. Left foot can come out to the side slightly. I'm just trying to keep the shoulders above the hips. Again, just gazing down, looking at that front knee, making sure it's staying above that right ankle. And slight drawing in as a tailbone connect to those core muscles. You can turn the arms up for a moment. And then exhale to turn them back down. Let the shoulders stay soft here. And take that drishti gaze along that front middle finger, right middle finger. Firming down through both feet. Optional to lunge a little bit deeper. Pregnant ladies remembering to never overstretch or extend into your poses. The hormone relaxing will enable you to go deeper still, but we're working at stabilising rather than going with that. Come back to the centre. Do the same on the other side. Right foot steps back, right hip slightly opens, wiggle that foot open, left knee above the left ankle, open up the arms, gaze along that left middle finger. When you're ready, come out and come back to stand at the front of the mat. So next we're going to work through a Warrior 3 balancing pose. And if you're suffering at all in pregnancy with SPD, pelvic girdle pain, then it's best to avoid standing for any length of time on one leg, to stay with modifications, trying to keep the hips nice and square. And the same with sacroiliac joint pain, just trying to avoid having the hips abducted, try to keep them nice and square. Okay, stepping that left foot back. So modified variation, we're just going to stay here and keep the foot down onto the floor. Otherwise we're going to push off that back foot and start finding that balance. Start to straighten that front leg. Again, this is the next kind of modified variation. Notice I've got a little softness still in that front leg. Try not to lock into the knee at any time. Optional to bring yourself forward. Try and keep that heart chest lifted. Extend out through that back leg. You can open the arms out and give you a little bit more balance. Feel like you're wobbling around at all, just come back down to the modifications. And then slowly bend a little bit into the standing leg and come back to the centre. Doing the same again on the other side. Hips square to the front. Variation 1. Variation 2. Lift off with that back leg. All coming down, keeping the heart chest lifted. Open up the arms. Extend out through that back leg. And avoid locking into that front knee. Try and make sure that the right hip is dropping down so it stays in line with the left. And slowly come back to the centre. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lengthen. And come all the way up. You can always do a vinyasa before coming down onto the floor. As we're just doing a little hatha variation today, I just want you to now come down onto your backs. Supporting your hands on the floor if you're pregnant, or engaging your core as you slowly roll down. onto your backs. Roll the shoulders down, bring the feet in slightly. Let the knees just knock in. You can take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Just take a moment's pause here. The rise and fall of the breath. Open the knees up now to hip distance as we come into a few bridges. Optional when you're pregnant, if you wanted to stay with a couple of pelvic tilts back and forth, that's okay. Just keep trying to squeeze into those inner thighs. It's helping to build strength through that pelvic girdle and through those inner thighs. The next one, you can come a little bit higher if it feels okay. For other practitioners, you can maybe roll the shoulder blades under, get a little bit more height through the heart chest. Breathing. And then slowly releasing. So you can take your spinal twist either with the feet off the floor, knees hovering above your hips, or just come to wriggle your feet to mat distance. For your spinal twist, you can just come to hug the knees wide and pausing there. Let the arms come out, up in cactus arms or out in line with the shoulders. Let both knees drop over towards the right. You can keep the knees stacked if you feel any discomfort in the outer SI. Try to relax into your twist, trying to keep both shoulders drawing down into the floor. And back to the centre. And the exhale, twisting over the opposite way. And come back to the centre. Now come to find your Shavasana. Just remembering during pregnancy that it's best not to lie on your back for an extended time. So lying on your side, on your left side, is preferable because of the big artery on the right side of your body, which is drawing oxygen down towards your baby. So you can have a bolster underneath that top knee. You can have a blanket or a cushion underneath the arm. You're just staying here as long as you like. I'm coming up to sit, but turn on some nice relaxing music and stay there for 10-15 minutes. When you've finished your practice, just come up to sit or kneel. Namaste.